music is this? Just had a bunch of my favorite South Parks. The one with
Fish sticks.
no, Faith Plus One,
Oh yeah,
Christian
yeah,
music.
I like that one.
Body of Christ. I love when they're showing the album and all the crummy songs.
For conservative talk radio, AM 770, KCTH Seattle. Now, the latest from Fox News.
Hard to believe someone.
Pyongyang raising the stakes. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. Another provocation from North Korea.
U.S. officials are now confirming that North Korea successfully tested for the first time a long-range intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, capable of hitting Alaska. The Pentagon now says this latest North Korean missile could travel over 4,000 miles.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon. America's UN Ambassador Nikki Haley asking for an emergency meeting about Pyongyang's missile launch. President Trump, meantime, responding to the latest test from the North.
President Trump is really responding by putting a lot of pressure on North Korea's neighbors, and he's going to be meeting with a lot of those nations' leaders at the G20 summit a little bit later this week. But let's take a look at what President Trump said earlier today on Twitter. He said, quote, North Korea has just launched another missile. Does this guy have anything better to do with his life? Hard to believe that South Korea and Japan will put up with this much longer. Perhaps China will put a heavy move on North Korea and end this nonsense once and for all.
Fox's Kristen Fisher in Warsaw, Poland,
That's
where
only
the
stuff
president
that
will
Trump
visit
should be able to
tomorrow.
do.
Russia and China both trying to de-escalate the situation by proposing that the North declare a moratorium on any nuclear and missile tests, while the U.S. and South Korea would back off from large-scale military exercises. New York City getting ready for its annual big fireworks display.
Millions of spectators are here lined up on both shores of the East River in New York City for the biggest fireworks display in the country. This year, 60,000 pyrotechnic effects are lighting up the night sky.
So which barbecue is it's Southern Smoked Barbecue and Hog Heaven Barbecue in the same place?
Any specific political party.
All the fun this year
Great
under tight
beef and
security.
brew,
New this year,
great
with
spot,
family
vehicles
quarters,
in place. New measures to protect against
I've
those
gone
truck
there.
attacks we've recently seen in Europe.
Hung
In
out
New York
there.
City, Supper Free. Fox News.
Buddies of mine used to hang out
and
there.
balanced.
Yeah, I've known people that did. I went in once. Trying to remember what
Geico presents
I think mine just had a
from your
beer and I
friend,
left.
Water.
Hey,
My friend's band played there one time.
Oh, look, about what
Guy
happened
worked
in
with
your
Kevin.
apartment with the
I was
broken
wondering
pipe.
whatever happened to Kevin, if he
I
went
just
back
wanted
to
apologize
Maine,
for
where he
ruining
was
all your
from.
stuff, and I hope this can all just be some me under the bridge someday. Oh, and also, I'm not paying for anything. Okay, bye.
Water never pays for water damage. Luckily, the Geico Insurance Agency makes getting coverage a snap. Visit geico.com to see how affordable renter's insurance can be.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home, wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT, home, safe home.
Hi, I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Fred looks 20 years younger.
Fred?
My next door neighbor. You guys were there yesterday.
He wanted to wear my hat.
20 years younger.
All you have to do is point, and whatever you're pointing at will disappear.
Let's get rid of that, and that, and that.
Will there be anything else?
I feel amazing.
Spread the word, ma'am. We work until midnight, 7 days a week. You never have to take off work to meet us. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Washington State has one of the highest crime rates in the country.
Right.
This is David at Northwest State.
What?
We can help you protect your valuables and keep firearms out of the
Bullshit.
wrong hands.
I don't believe you for a
Northwest
second.
State is Washington's premier Liberty State
Washington
dealer.
has one of the
Over 200
highest
states
crime
on
rates in the
display,
country.
An expert sales staff and the best in-home delivery. Invest in the
I'm gonna
peace
have
of
to check
mind
that
that
out
Liberty
online.
State provides. Now with 0% financing, OAC, call 888-4046.
What crime are they
online
talking
at
about?
nwsafe.com. That's nwsafe.com.
Going to be doing some barbecuing this weekend? Get the old broken down.
They make up lies like that, and it's not okay. But we're not living in a time when it's talk about the lying media. It's everything on the conservative side.
Infrared cooking system. It locks in the food's natural moisture.
Seriously, where do they come up with that shit?
Exclusive place to see and experience Sabre for yourself. Get your Sabre grill and receive $200 in free Sabre accessories. 9 Aquacut stores for you, from Linwood to Lakewood.
Washington has the most black criminals.
From the Fox Business Network, if you're like many Americans, a summer vacation might be putting a dent in your wallet. Nearly 3/4 of Americans have gone into debt, making their great summer escape, according to results from financial planning platform.
Can't because of gas prices this
year. The survey finding that 55% of Americans don't factor in vacation expenses into their annual budget. On average, Americans will accrue over $1,100
make life easier for people,
and
the working class, there's less crime.
Generations to go into debt.
There's less crime. Crime is caused by poverty. Anybody doesn't know that, well, get that study that I'm...
Financial planning experts advise people should anticipate their vacation-related expenses well in advance.
We had to do in college a whole
many suggest looking at previous year's expenses and
what caused crime.
Will spend on trips to get a ballpark estimate
what caused
they need to save annually for vacations. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hillary Barsky.
Fox Business Network gives you the edge from finance.
People to work mornings.
First, Maria Bartiromo and Ford Bonnie
10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Breaking news, busy morning this morning.
With Dr. Washington, Neil Capone, Rick Regan, and Liz Clayton.
That's not just mornings. 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
For the bucks you're putting in.
And Charles Payne and Lou Dobbs have political coverage that's on the money.
Sending shockwaves around the world.
You too.
Profit from experience when you watch Fox Business Network.
He's here. Now broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Levin.
This is the best of the Mark Levin Show. Happy Independence Day. Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number is 381-3811.
Sit in the shade, so it doesn't melt so quick.
3811.
Dairy Queen isn't real ice cream.
Well, there is much to talk about tonight.
I'm not going to sit next to the person passed out.
The North Korean government under Kim Jong-un
I hope they just passed out.
Basically executed this young man, Otto, who died.
Oh, here we go with this again. Poor Otto over in North Korea getting killed.
And that is, we need to put the shoulder on the Chinese government.
Yeah, I agree. Poor Otto.
And
I agree. What's he over there for? What's he doing in North Korea?
I really believe that.
Was with a Christian group?
Yes, of course. That's what he's doing.
And then he stole something. No, he's a Christian and he stole something.
Yep.
The guy's a nut.
Knowing what the penalty was.
That's simple.
The thing is, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to steal.
We'll talk about Syria. We'll talk about what's going on with Obamacare. But before we do all that,
you went through a group in China that says, we'll take you to places your mother wouldn't want you to go.
It's like people tried to sneak Bibles in China.
And one was written in 2000.
During the Olympics.
The latter one, written October 16, 2000, was
told not to preach. You go out on this corner and preach.
The Clinton Justice Department.
You're not allowed to here.
The Office of Legal Counsel.
This is not the United States.
That does constitutional analyses for...
Rights don't mean anything in China or in North Korea.
But in China even,
and
they have a lot of rights and you just don't have...
And I'm going to read some of it to you, so
the people aren't interested in Christianity.
Anybody else.
That's all there is to it.
Both have concluded that the official policy of the Department of Justice...
But don't you want to hear the good news?
Years,
no.
Well,
is that a sitting president of the United States cannot be indicted.
Considering
it's like
they're working steam engine
is quite beside the
1,000 years before Ford
talk about whether Trump personally is under investigation for obstruction
like the
of
Inuit
justice,
said,
or whether Trump violated the law.
He said, so after telling me all this, you mean to tell me that if I didn't know about this, I couldn't be punished?
He's president of the United
States. He said, yes. Then why the hell did you tell me?
If Robert Mueller should seek to indict,
you're responsible for sending me to hell. You could have left me ignorant. Leave me alone.
The Cortez story turned out to be quite a bit different. people finally got
And
around it.
day in and day out, we hear about obstruction of justice. And did he
That
obstruct
he was
justice? No,
kidnapped.
he didn't obstruct justice. He was free to do what he did. But all this
They kidnapped Montezuma and held him for ransom, and then killed him anyway.
To criminalize,
and then the people had
Trump did, is utter
36
complete
people
nonsense.
conquered
As a
millions.
matter of law, as a matter of constitutional law, and it's the institutional position of the Department of Justice. So what's going on here? I'll tell you what's going on here. What I said the other day, Mueller's investigation, to the extent it involves Trump himself, has as its purpose to lay a predicate or pretext, if you will, for impeachment. And that's not that man's job. He's way out of line.
Really, it isn't the highest cop in the country's job to bring attention
he hasn't made
to
up his mind whether to investigate the president
the rest of
for
the country that
obstruction of justice.
the president
Why
needs to
would
be
he
impeached.
investigate the
It's
president
not the
for
FBI head,
obstruction
huh?
of justice?
Wrong.
If the president can't be charged in an indictable offense with obstructing justice, in addition to the fact that as a constitutional matter, the president, even if everything James Comey said is true, and it's not, he's not able to obstruct justice, certainly not here. Comey's notes
He's
don't
going
say
on
that
with the
Trump
Nixon
ordered
law
him or directed
argument.
him to stop any investigation.
The president doesn't, it's not legal.
That was his after-the-fact analysis after his ass was fired, and he became disgruntled and humiliated. That's not what his notes
Bill Maher and
say.
John Oliver both talked about this.
The memo,
How they'll say
the parts
it
of
wasn't
that he
illegal.
leaked
But even if he did do it,
Professor
it
Biden,
wasn't illegal.
who in turn leaked it to the New York Times, does not say what Comey testified to. But we get hung up on that. We get hung up on Dershowitz's point. We get hung up on this point and
Or
the other point.
Christie
The key is,
not signing the
according
thing
to the
to
Department of Justice,
have
in the
the,
last
so the
44
government
years,
went into default in New Jersey,
President of the United
so all state
States
parks were
cannot be
closed, except for him. He took his family to the state parks.
I want you to listen to some of this. You'll be the first.
And he said, well, if you run for office and get to be governor, you can do the same thing.
Memorandum for the Attorney General by the Office
Got pictures of him and everything.
I know they need to take you up on charges. Can't do that.
And they're citing the 1973.
It is not privileged. There are no privileged people in America.
You can imagine they wrote
It's a free country.
Spiro Agnew, the vice president, and
Workers paid for it
President
already.
Nixon and the issues that came up. So bear with me on this. As a matter of fact, more than bear with me, turn up the volume. Let's focus together on this. You're not going to hear this on TV. In 1973, writes the 2000 memo, the department concluded that the indictment or criminal prosecution of a sitting president would impermissibly undermine the capacity of the executive branch to perform its constitutionally assigned function. We've been asked to summarize and review the analysis provided in support of that conclusion and to consider whether any subsequent developments in law lead us today to reconsider and modify or disavow that determination. We believe that the conclusion reached by the Department of Justice in 1973 still represents the best interpretation of the Constitution. Now, I can't read the whole thing. It's 32 pages with footnotes, but let me read chunks of it. And tell everybody you meet. Tell your family. Tell your coworkers. Tell your neighbors.
Richard Nixon
In this memorandum,
left
we conclude that the determination
because he
made by
was
the
a
Department
criminal,
in 1973,
and he was pardoned
both in the
because he
Office
was
of
a
Legal
criminal.
Counsel memorandum
He
and in
should
the
have spent the rest of his life in prison.
remains sound, and that
should have been shot
subsequent
for those
developments in
rules
the law
back then.
validate both the analytical framework applied and the
Because
conclusions
he tried to overthrow our way
at the
of government.
time. So they are underscoring the 1973, embracing the 1973 memorandum. Let's go on. They write later, the OLC is Office of Legal Counsel. The OLC memorandum then proceeded to the second part of its constitutional analysis, examining whether, first part's irrelevant, that's why I'm moving to the second. Examining whether criminal proceedings against a sitting president should be barred by the doctrine of separation of powers, because such proceedings would unduly interfere in a direct or formal sense with the conduct of the president. It was on this ground that the memorandum in 1973 ultimately concluded that the indictment or criminal prosecution of a sitting president would be unconstitutional. Now, those of you who are really sharp out there, which is almost all of you.
You're right. He could be impeached and thrown out of office, and then we'll charge him, you
Without
motherfucker.
having read this memorandum. But let's go on. They write the memorandum in
And then he'll be tried as a
1973.
fucking
It
private
concluded that
citizen,
the
not as a government
necessity of
official, and he'll
defendant's
face
appearance
all
in
the
prison
charges.
in a criminal trial was of great relevance in determining how the proper constitutional balance should be struck. By virtue of the necessity of the defendant's appearance, the institution of criminal proceedings
And he could have
against the
avoided
sitting
all
president
of it.
would
If he was
interfere
honest
with the
from the
president's
first,
unique official duties, most of
he
which
would have
cannot
fucking
be
released his
performed by anyone else.
tax returns.
Moreover, during the past century,
But you
the
cons
duties
think
of
you're,
the
but you
presidency
cons
become
think you're
so onerous
special.
I
that a
wouldn't doubt if
president
it
may
turns
not
out that
be
he's
able to
actually
fully
bankrupt.
discharge the powers
Oh,
and
yeah.
duties of his office.
Yes, because he owes so much money to Russian banks.
Finally, under our constitutional plan, as outlined in Article 1, Section 3, only the Congress, by the formal process of impeachment, not a court,
There
by
you
any
go.
process,
That's what I said.
be accorded the power to
Impeach.
He's such an
Remove
idiot. He doesn't know.
and charge.
He doesn't know the steps of anything.
The
Apparently, he
1973
didn't
memorandum
pay
rejected
attention to
the
the
argument
Watergate
that such
hearings.
burdens should not be thought conclusive, because even an impeachment proceeding that did not result in conviction might preclude a president performing his constitutionally assigned duties in the course of defending against impeachment. In contrast to the risks that would attend a criminal proceeding against the sitting president, they wrote, "This is a risk expressly contemplated by the Constitution, and it is a necessary incident of the impeachment process. As a consequence of the personal attention that a defendant, a president, must, as a practical matter, on my page, give in defending against a criminal proceeding, the memorandum concluded that there were particular reasons rooted in separation of power concerns that supported the recognition of an immunity for the president while in office."
This reminds me of how those people read stuff from the Bible and take it all out of context.
Yep.
Due to the unique aspects of the office of president. Criminal proceedings against
This is all stuff about Nixon
And the Lord said,
and all the stuff about Nixon and how what they had, the steps they had to do to get him out of office. They had to impeach him first before they could get him with a crime.
To be sure,
He left office without being impeached, and then he got pardoned. I feel that Ford had no right to pardon him for that. He had that was not within his powers, and yet the Congress stood up for him.
I understand why he did it, but he shouldn't have done it.
The OLC memorandum also explained that the
I remember when his long national nightmare is over.
in terms of capacity of the government,
Just,
that would attend criminal
done.
proceedings
just
against
shut the
sitting
door on something that should have been done, something done about.
in the constitutional balance of competing
You gave
institutional
the rich enough power over the right to fucking take advantage of everybody else.
Claim that the president is the symbolic head of the nation. To wound him by a criminal proceeding is to hamstring the operation of the whole governmental apparatus.
I can't believe how
The thing
colorblind
is-
OJ was to his own people. That stuff was happening in LA.
The thing is that Trump knows all of this. He knows all these laws.
Entire branch of the government.
He knows what can happen with Nixon, and he's doing it anyway. And consorting with the fucking enemy.
With clarity against permitting
And yes, they are the enemy.
to proceed. Stick with me. I know it sounds complicated, but it's not.
It's interesting because actually American business helped Russia get back on its feet after the wall collapsed. So now, what do? Fuck us over.
The president is, in some respects, necessarily political, in a way that criminal proceedings against other civil officers would not be. In this respect,
The thing is that Nixon can be forgiven because
to undertake the unavoidably political task.
I think Nixon had the nation in mind. He wanted to make the nation better. Trump doesn't want to make the nation better. He wants to make himself better.
There's things about Nixon that he's a good man in many ways.
And there's nothing good about Trump. And so Trump, knowing that he's doing what he's doing, should be taken out on the Capitol steps.
Ronald Reagan was a good man compared to this.
Yep.
George Bush Sr. is better. George Bush Jr. is better. And that hurts.
Nixon was the most corrupt president. George W. Bush Jr. was the stupidest president we've ever had. And Trump beat both of them in 150 days.
You know, I don't like President Truman. Not for dropping the bomb, but for being not a very, for
In accordance with this conclusion about the propriety of leaving such matters,
he could have helped a lot of things.
The memorandum noted
Could have
that
done civil
under
rights right then. He did integrate the Army. And he wasn't, I do believe he's a good American, but I don't like a lot of things about him.
No.
First of all, he let the CIA invent the Korean War and the Vietnam War while he was president.
The decision to terminate
Korean War should never been fought.
Handled by the Congress than by a jury. Such congressional
should have let the two sides fight it out amongst themselves. It was their fucking war, and we went in.
Now they go on.
China was not strong enough to start a World War III at that time.
I know, it's amazing that I'm the only one and the first one to even talk about it. The OLC memorandum.
The Americans were tired after World War II.
The possibility not
just do a police action
to indict a sitting president, but defer further proceedings until he's no longer in office. And they conclude there that doesn't work. Because then you have this cloud over the man's head. He may well be innocent, and it will affect his ability to function with Congress and particularly foreign government. So
you're fucking such an asshole to say these things.
Well, here's the thing that gets me.
He's trying it right on the radio and said he's innocent.
These apologists that say this shit were saying just the opposite with Obama. Just exactly the opposite. How Obama should be impeached.
In the Clinton administration.
Obama should be removed from office. Obama should be charged. President while being black.
Well,
would you really know what to do if you found yourself face to
midnight
face
show
with
at
the criminal?
midnight.
Well, we all like to think
no, it was before midnight. After the Daily Show, the nightly show, he had the black guy on there, and he had a regular segment called the Unblackening.
Yep.
And not a year before President went out of office, they took this show off.
Yep. Larry Wilmore, yeah, no.
I like Larry so much, and I love the fact that he could make fun of black people the way he could. But then again, I like, the black guy that's on Daily Show now.
Yeah.
They're honest. There are some stereotypes that are honest stereotypes. And you can make fun of people. Then again, like I was saying about the Smothers Brothers making fun of Johnson. He laughed at their jokes. Why? Because he could laugh at himself. And, he sent 50,000 boys to their deaths. Actually, only 30,000. But then again, he also was one of the architects of the entire Social Security welfare system we have now. A lot of people don't know what a great man Johnson was as a senator. Him and Humphrey, man, they were hand in hand from the 1930s on. They were two of the best. And in a way, I feel Humphrey should have been able to be president for one term.
Mm-hmm. I like the video like this because I want Owen to be able to look back on this when he's 40 years old and look at what this valley used to look like. Because we know what it looked like 50 years ago. Before I-5 was all the way up here.
Oh yeah, that's another thing, man. Everett before I-5 had to be really a cool little town. I can imagine if there wasn't an I-5 now, Everett wasn't sitting right on the major highway. Without all the stuff, this would be a beautiful little town.
So much sadness and destitution.
There might be one or two people out of that bunch that is actually a person who's a true indigent, a person who lives outside of the norm. The rest of them are people who have been trapped in crime and drugs and jail.
Yep.
And alcohol, drugs. Some people, no matter what you teach them, if like for example, parents teach them how to behave, but if they allow them to be abused, how can you learn right from wrong when someone allows you to be abused when they tell you to do something? Continually, like I've watched that intervention show, and 90% of the people on the show were sexually abused when they were children.
Yep.
This one yesterday was about a guy who's an older guy. He's older than us, in his 60s, and his children and grandchildren are trying to get him taken care of, and he's smoking crack. And this guy was a millionaire. Yeah, but he was a multi-millionaire, $13 million. And he's now living in his fucking truck smoking crack. And $13 million is smoking crack in it. And he was addicted for years, and he got off of it, and he raised his kids because he didn't get married until late, or the second family. But he took care of himself, and now his son's also using one of his oldest sons. The one he took care of some of his kids. You know how it is. But he's a good guy, and you're going like. But he was sexually abused as a child. He got over it. Maybe he was able to get over it once, and then he went into it and he got over it again. Now he's all fucked up again.
It's because he never got over it.
He was talking about the town he came from in New Jersey. I can't remember what it was.
All he did was cover it up. He never got over it.
Yeah, the town he grew up in was nicknamed Sin City. If you come in one way, you won't go out the other. Something like, rotten little fucking town full of criminals. Poor people. Actually, Seattle isn't in the top 10 cities to live in right now. But some of the top places to live in the country are right here. And Seattle is in the top 20 places to live. One of the most livable big cities. Mm-hmm. The one thing that's been a drawback in Seattle for so long now has been, since we've lived here, was the traffic.
Yep.
And actually, that's going to be solved. The bullet train things, when they get the whole thing established.
Yeah, they're not going to have that done until...
I know, it's a while.
100 years from now. Because the Republicans are fighting it every step of the way. They don't want to allocate any money to it. Just let people live with the way they are. Just keep going like we're
how
going.
Is it Americans who were, for at least 50 years, we were the leader in the world in everything, as far as after World War II. We had things nobody had until the 80s. Our entire childhood, we had things nobody had, even 3 television stations in the world. England had 2, most of the countries had 1.
Yep.
Now everybody's got cable. People living in Zimbabwe got a laptop.
Pay for it, does, Ken. That's the whole thing. And much of the world, the internet's free.
Exactly. Oh, that's the other thing.
Not for us.
In America, they made it where a person can own the oil well, whereas in other countries, the oil is part of the country and it's not owned by anybody. It's part of the country and everybody gets profit.
Venezuela was like that.
And that's something
nationalize
they
their oil.
had really
And
pissed
that
off.
made everybody in this country livid. They couldn't believe that. They couldn't stand it. And so what did they do? They poisoned the president. That's what we did. We poisoned the president of Venezuela and killed him. And so now they're having that horrible war down there that's killing innocent people.
It's like they
And it's
killed
because all of what we did. It's what our government did. You want to talk about the shadow government? That's the shadow government right there. They're the ones that did the same thing with Pinochet. They're the same thing that did with the Banana Republic. Banana Republic? You mean the Dominican Republic? Is that what you mean? Banana. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being brought up thinking that your country is the Banana Republic, not the Dominican Republic? We destroyed that. You're just Dole plantations. That's all you are. You're not a people. Can you imagine that? The audacity.
Well, we got some terrible racisms going on with, like the guy says, we ought to have a White History Month. One tells all the